I used to drink a lot, like an unhealthy amount, and I tried to cut down so many times. I really wanted to moderate my drinking, but every time I would try, the habit of drinking would just take over and I would be right back to where I was before. But 4 years ago, I made a change, and today I want to talk about what finally helped me moderate my drinking. I want to start with just a quick disclaimer that I am by no means an expert, and I'm just going to be talking about my own personal story of moderating drinking. And I recognize that there are people out there who may actually need professional help or who may need to quit drinking entirely. In that case, maybe this is not the best video to watch. But I'm going to start with my own personal story first, and if you are eager to get to the actual tips on how to moderate drinking, feel free to use the timestamps in the description. Okay, let's get started. So all through my 20s, I probably drank at least 4 times a week, and I would binge drink on the weekends. And from the outside, I don't know if you would have known that I had a problem. I had a good career, I had good relationships, and I looked happy. I looked like I was having fun. But I think I was doing a pretty good job of hiding how I was feeling. I was feeling ashamed that I couldn't control my drinking. I was just feeling sick and hungover all the time. I wasn't sleeping very well, which was affecting my mental health. I would wake up at 3 a.m. most nights, just thinking about how I had broken more promises to myself by drinking again. Basically, I was using drinking to numb my feelings. Anytime I felt bored or sad or stressed, I would just drink to make the feeling go away. I was completely out of touch with my body and my mind, and the cycle went on until I was 33. By this point, I had tried to moderate in many different ways. I had tried to create all these rules, so only drinking on the weekend or only having a maximum of 2 drinks, but none of these actually helped me cut down long term. So I sort of started to get this intuition that I needed to quit, but there was something about quitting permanently that felt so hard for me. I think because I'd been drinking for so long, it was just such a core part of my identity that giving it up, I didn't really even know who I would be without alcohol. I just couldn't take the leap to say that I was quitting for good. So what I did instead was I decided to stop drinking for 1 year. And after that first year, I was feeling so good that I actually decided to extend it by another year. And throughout this time, I can't say that I was really sure that I would ever start drinking again. But at some point I started getting this feeling that I missed the fun energy of a crazy night out. I had built up a lot of tools along the way to help me cope with my feelings, but I haven't really discovered something that would completely replace that feeling. So sort of on a whim, after 2 years of not drinking, I decided to have a drink. And I'm happy to say that I am able to moderate much better than I was before. I no longer drink to get drunk, and I don't really enjoy that feeling, and I'm very intentional about when I choose to drink. So now that all this time has passed, I wanted to reflect and actually think about what actually helped me finally moderate my drinking, in the hopes that maybe these strategies can be helpful to you if you're struggling with the same thing. So I think the number one reason why I'm able to moderate now is because I quit for an extended period of time. And I know that may not be what you want to hear, but it was so important to give myself that time to discover who I am underneath alcohol, and also to sort of rebuild my life in a way that there are many things inside of it. You may not need a full 2 years, but even 6 months or 1 year would be really valuable to figure out who you are without alcohol. Being sober for so long helped me experience many life events without alcohol. I was actually sober at my wedding, at my graduation, and I took several vacations without alcohol for the first time ever. And basically every weekend I had to figure out what to do with myself. All of these experiences taught me valuable lessons and helped me accumulate tools that I'm able to use now to help me moderate drinking. I told other people that I was doing it as a personal challenge, that I was doing it for health reasons and to sort of reset my system to make it less of a habit. And while all of those things were true, I think I lightened the story a lot for my friends and family. I wasn't being totally honest about how bad I was feeling and how much I was struggling to cut down drinking. But I think treating it in more of this light way with my friends and family helped them to accept it more and to accept me in this new way. But I was surprised to find out that my friends didn't really care if I was drinking or not. No one really pushed back, and people were generally supportive of my desire to be healthier. And I actually was able to inspire a lot of my friends to take a closer look at their own drinking habits, and that was really awesome. That was a great feeling. I started going to therapy once a week right before I stopped drinking, and I think that was really valuable because it helped me stay accountable after I had quit drinking. I knew my therapist would be checking in on my progress every week, and it felt really good to have someone that I could be really honest with about my struggles, and someone who could help me navigate all of the difficult emotions I was feeling. She also did a trauma technique with me called EMDR, which actually helped me discover why I started drinking in the first place when I was 16. She basically had me explore a memory that was very triggering for me and that made me want to drink. And by understanding the root cause of my drinking, I was able to better recognize my triggers when they happened. It's a bit difficult to explain, but even to this day, when I get triggered in the same way, it's really helpful to have that awareness, and it helps me find my way through those uncomfortable feelings. My therapist also helped me understand that I was using alcohol to numb my feelings. So she helped me come up with a mantra called Feel Your Feelings, which I used all the time. Literally anytime I had a craving or I could sense myself getting triggered, I would just say over and over and over again in my head, feel your feelings, feel your feelings. And sometimes it would make me actually cry because I hadn't felt my feelings in so long. And I think crying was a really good thing because it helped me learn how to naturally release those intense emotions that I was having. I really recommend giving this a try. It's such an easy tool that you can just use at any time. I mean, you can just say it in your head quietly without saying it out loud, so it's something you can really use anywhere. During that first year, I would walk anytime I had a craving. Even if it was at midnight, I would just get up and go. I don't know, there was something about just moving my body that really helped me release all of the tension that I was feeling. Walking 10,000 steps a day also really helped me fill the time. So instead of sitting on the couch and allowing myself to get bored, which would make me want to start drinking, I would go on these 2-hour walks every day, and it really would help pass the time in the day. And one really awesome byproduct of this habit is that I lost about 15 pounds in those first 2 months after I quit drinking, and I haven't gained any of it back. If I can find a before and after photo that was taken during that time, I will put it here. When I was drinking, I never craved sweets, and I figured out later that that's because alcohol has a lot of sugar. So when I stopped drinking alcohol, I started craving sugar like crazy, and I basically started eating a pint of ice cream every day. But I'm happy that I allowed myself to do this without too much judgment, because I think it really helped me when I was having those alcohol cravings to have something else that could give me a little bit of that feeling. I don't know, I think that ice cream would send some happy signals to my brain and even give me a little bit of that sluggish, relaxed feeling that I could get from alcohol. I don't eat that much ice cream anymore, but it's still wild to me that I was able to lose 15 pounds even while eating this much ice cream just from the fewer calories from alcohol and also from walking so much. There are 2 incredible communities on Reddit called Stop Drinking and Cut Down Drinking, and they really, really helped me in the early days when I had first given up alcohol. In Stop Drinking, they have a concept called One Day at a Time, which basically just means focus on today, focus on the next hour, focus on the next few minutes. For when you're having a craving, it's really helpful to keep you staying present in the moment and focused on just what's right in front of you. I also spent a lot of time in these communities before I decided to quit drinking, and just reading other people's stories and hearing their struggles made me feel so much less alone. And it's a really active community, so when I needed some support, there were people there who could help me, and when others needed support, I could be there for them too. And that especially helped me a lot. There's something about helping others that reinforces why you're doing it for yourself. I'm going to put the links for these communities in the description in case you want to check them out. When you remove a habit, you need to find something to replace it with. When I quit drinking, I pretty quickly realized that there was a lot of empty space and I had no hobbies besides drinking. One of the best distractions I found early on was reading rom-coms. I hadn't read for fun in many years, and finding rom-coms as a genre just made me fall in love with reading again. They were so easy to read, I could finish them in just a couple of days, and they never felt too difficult to pick up. When I was feeling bad, they were the perfect escape and could take me into a fantasy world where everything just magically works out all the time. I quit drinking during COVID, and I actually think that was very helpful because it gave me an excuse to stay home all the time. I always thought I was an extrovert, but during this time I realized that I really enjoy spending time alone. I think I was using alcohol to force myself to be more social than I am. This is a great example of something new that I learned about myself when I wasn't drinking. Now, if I don't want to do an activity sober, then I won't do it. And if I'm tired, I'll just go home. I used to use alcohol to ignore my feelings, so now I try to feel my feelings and check in with myself and see what I need. That is something that I still rely on a lot today to help me moderate my drinking. If I'm not having fun or if I'm tired, then I go home. I still take short breaks from drinking all the time to make sure it doesn't turn into a habit again. In 2025, I took 4 months off between January and April, and in 2026, I took February and March off. I find this to be a really good way to reset my system and make sure that I don't become overly reliant on alcohol again. And usually I can sense when it's time for me to take a break. In the past couple of years, it's been right after the holidays when there are a lot of opportunities for drinking, and I find that my body actually just craves a reset around that time of year. I made this video because 4 years ago I really needed to hear from somebody who had been through this. And if that's you right now, I really hope that something here can help you. And if you want to hear more about how my life changed when I quit drinking, I made another video which I'll link here. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and supporting my small channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye.